So let's do a mid-year review. We're at the halfway mark of the 2023-2024 season. So let's see how the Toronto Maple Leafs are doing. I'll give my thoughts and opinions on it. First off, Matthews, All-Star. He has 37 goals right now, kind of crazy. The All-Star game is actually happening in Toronto this year, so we actually have three other guys who made the All-Star team. Nylander, makes sense. Riley, makes sense. Marner, kind of surprised. So we'll go into that a bit further, but let's go through the team here. So I wrote out the team. I'll move my face back over. Let's go through the team and kind of talk about each player individually and as a team and what I think needs to be adjusted moving forward. Right now, we are very middle of the pack, just upper echelon. The one thing I forgot to check was the standings. So let's check the standings first. Let's go in our conference. We are third in our conference. We have 52 points in 43 games. I know it's not quite the mid-year. I should have done this at the 41 game mark. I'm late. I've been busy. I'm so sorry. We're plus 13 goal differential. So our team has been very mid. The upper echelon of mid. Boston's running away with it, 63 points. Florida has 58. And right now, right on their heels, you have Detroit and Tampa, 44 games, 51 points, 45 games, 51 points. So they're just creeping up behind Montreal, Buffalo, and Ottawa. We need a miracle to come back in. When you go through the entire league, they're in the 11th. Edmonton's right on the heels with the game in hand. So they're hovering around that 10th to 12th spot league-wide at the moment. Edmonton's won 12 games in a row. That's kind of crazy. And the story about the Leafs' year so far is that they're so up and down. It's a very roller coaster. They've had moments of brilliance and then a lot of inconsistency in between. So in terms of the first line, you have Matthew Knies, Matthews, and Marner. These are Matthews, unbelievable, scoring at an unbelievable rate. He has 37 goals in those 43 games. We'll look at the statistics of each player later. Marner's having a very inconsistent year. Historically, over the past few years, we were just wowed by Mitch Marner on a regular basis. Just like, wow, he was kind of like a cheat code, just looking amazing. I have not seen that same flash and that same level this year. Last year, he was also a Selke candidate, meaning the top defensive forward. I think he came third. So Patrice Bergeron won it. Hischier, the center out of New Jersey, and then Marner. So Marner came third in all forwards on a defensive metric last year, and he had 99 points. So he's definitely not playing up to that same level that he did last year. Last year, he had a ton of offense, and he had that really good defense. So he's struggling more so. He's probably the number one person on our forward lineup that is struggling in relative terms to his potential and what he has shown in the past. Matthew Knies is kind of like half the point a game on the top line, so he isn't getting a ton of points in a position where he should be. But he's big, he's strong, he's still young. So preferably he'd be a third line guy right now, but they have him on the first line. I don't mind that line. I just hope that Knies can pick up his game, especially when it matters the most in the playoffs. We'll see how that goes. Second line, Bertuzzi, Tavares, and Nylander. This line has been really good throughout the year. Over maybe the past 8 games or so, it hasn't been as consistent. You'll see Tavares was on a point per game pace, maybe just a little bit higher. Now he's dropped underneath that. Nylander has been unbelievable. He's had a bit of a dip since his extension, but that huge extension, that $11.5 million extension that he did at times 8 years. But Nylander's been clearly an amazing player. I was saying, especially the first 30 games of the year, I said he was our MVP of our team so far up until that point. Matthews has kind of taken over, especially it's so hard to score, and he's scored so much. So I think Matthews has taken over, but Nylander's clearly been our second best player all year. And he's been our most consistent player all year, including when you had Matthews. Tavares is doing steady. He's steady on the second line. And Bertuzzi, the first 15, 20 games, he was struggling, but he's really come into his own. He's still not producing enough points for his $5.5 million cap hit, but he is looking good, and I'm excited to see him in the playoffs. Third line, right now, our lines have been in a blender recently. So I put Max Domi. He's been really good on center since we put him there. Yarncroke has just been a great addition since last year. Like for his cap hit, he can go up and down the lineup. He's just looked great offensively, defensively. He's just a really good addition to our team. And then Holmberg or Robertson. So that spot has been either Holmberg or Robertson. Holmberg currently has 7 points in his last 7 games, so he's looking quite good. Holmberg has a more defensive side of things as well. He can also take face-offs. So I think the reason why they're putting Holmberg in over Robertson at the moment is because he just provides a little bit more flexibility. But Robertson, he's been playing under 11 minutes a game. We'll look at that when we get into the statistics. And he's almost half a point per game. He can score. I really want to give him an opportunity, and I hope they don't trade him. And I hope next year we see him in the top 6 because I really want to give him a proper opportunity, not 11 minutes a game. I want him at 15 or 16 and see how he goes there. And then the fourth line, David Kampf. Just solid center. He actually is playing a few extra seconds over Domi. So basically, like Domi and Kampf are comparable in terms of their utilization. McMahon has been solid, and Gregor has been solid as well. So it's okay. Their fourth line is okay right now. Obviously, Ryan Reeves has not re-entered into the mix yet because he has been injured. So I hope they send him to the minors when he is healthy. In terms of our defense, this is where our forward lineup I've been happy with for the most part. I think it's been good. I would kind of give it like a B+, maybe an A- even. I would like it to be a little bit more consistent. I would like to see more than one line going at a time. But overall, when I look at it and what we need moving forward, if we could just add one guy to this mix who could play center, who could play either wing, who can move up and down the lineup, just as more of an insurance guy. So I always look at Sean Monahan as a possibility, Henrique from Anaheim. Monahan's obviously with Montreal, and I see it less likely because Free Living sent him there with a first-round pick for nothing. But I see him as being a good option. Scott Laughton would be a great option from Philadelphia, but Philadelphia's crushing it, so the odds that they trade him are low. Boone Jenner would be a perfect addition. However, he is Columbus's captain. Columbus loves him. And I don't know if they want to trade him. But if he did become available, he is a guy that I would love to add to this mix because he has the contract for a few more years. But he would be expensive. First round pick, Minton would be the start point for that. So, rough. So our defense has been a lot more inconsistent. So what I found with our defense is our depth on defense is actually really good. Our depth guys have been lights out this year, and they're providing a lot of value for their contracts. The thing that I'm looking at our defense right now is that we're missing a top guy. I want to say a top 3 guy. I would say Morgan Rielly is a very solid 1. Brody is dropping maybe to a number 4. McCabe's a number 4. I would love a number 2 or number 3 defenseman, preferably a big, physical, puck-moving right D. Those would be expensive, and there's not very many of them around. So Morgan Rielly has been amazing. Just a really good defenseman. Brody's been struggling. People have been harping on his case. I still think he's a great defenseman, and I still think, or at least he's a very good defenseman, and if people want to run him out of town, it's be careful what you wish for. Do I want to move down a little bit? Absolutely. So if we can, move everybody down on this right side, that would make a huge difference. You do something like this. So you get Morgan Rielly, add in that defenseman. I've made a video on Adam Larson. Seattle has won 9 games in a row after I made that video, so the likelihood of them actually selling Larson are low now. I look at you have a Tanev option. The Tanev would be a weak option in that regard, but it could help. He would just be expensive. I made a video on him as well. I would not be willing to pay the cost for it. So if the cost is cheap, I would enjoy having a Tanev because he would add a lot. Mackenzie Weegar in Calgary as well would be a great option. However, he has a full no trade clause, and Calgary I don't think wants to trade him. But if they do, I would send a lot for him because when I look at our defensive core, Weegar would be a great option. He's a guy I have not made a video on, so maybe my next video after this one is making a video on Weegar. Calgary fans are going to roast me regardless. Just how people are. McCabe's been solid. He's just a good physical defensive number 4 defenseman, right? Like not perfect, but at a $2 million cap it, happy. Benoit has been our surprise on defense. He's actually doing really well. He has no points, but he's physical and he's doing well on the defensive side of things. Liljegren, I would still like to see him give a little bit more. Like he hasn't shown much offense. He hasn't shown much defensiveness. He hasn't shown much physicality. He's kind of just like mid in everything. And I feel like this team needs him to choose something. Do you want to be offensive? Do you want to be defensive? Do you want to be physical? We need something out of him or out of all of our guys. And I just, he's just Mario right now from Mario Kart. We need him to be Bowser, or we need him to be, what's the other side? Toad? Am I calling that right? If people don't know Super Mario, they have no idea what I'm talking about. But he needs to either be big and strong and physical and defensively defensive, or work on that puck moving ability, start generating some points. Obviously we need a guy that has all of that. But right now Liljegren doesn't have, he's just okay at everything, and I want to see him at least in one area take that step so we can be like, okay, this is what he is, because I still don't know what he is. Maybe you guys do, but I don't. Giordano. He's aging, but he's still a really good depth piece. Whether he ends up being our 6th defenseman or 7th defenseman, don't really care. He'll be in and out of the lineup regardless, and I think he's just a warrior. He's a heart and soul type of guy. Timmins hasn't been getting much opportunity recently, just like last year. He actually puts up quite a few points. I want to see him give a proper shot, but he's seeming like he's on the outside looking in again. And Lagesson has just been a good depth piece. He hasn't been in the lineup recently, but he has played well when he's there. All to say is, in a lot of trade proposals that I'm seeing guys trade for guys like Lyubushkin or Sealers from Philadelphia. Lyubushkin's in Anaheim. They're trading for bottom of the roster guys, and we have a lot of those type of guys already. We don't need those type of players. We need somebody to fill up at the top, and they are very expensive, and not very many are available, if any at all. So it's going to be tough. So defense, I'm going to go with a C- at the moment. I really, their depth is really good, and they've been holding on, but this is where they really need to improve their team. In terms of goaltending, Samsonov has been unplayable this year. I really like Samsonov. I like his personality. I wish him the best, and I really hope he can pick things up again because I really like him. Thankfully, he's been unplayable, but thankfully, Joseph Woll has been really good this year. He's injured at the moment, unfortunate. And then Martin Jones, our third goalie, has been playing extremely well as well. Nobody would have expected that. So, goaltending, I want to say, is actually a B+ as well. Our goaltending is actually pretty solid. Now with the emergence of Jones, I'm not really looking at, upgrading our goaltending at all. I could see a package of Samsonov going out specifically so that we have his cap for a defenseman, but that would be, otherwise I would just keep him anyways. That is the overall team so far. Goaltending has been good. I'm happy with where it's at. Especially once Woll comes back, Samsonov, I don't see him being on the Leafs after that point. Our forward group is actually pretty good. I would really like to add a top 9 guy into there. And our defense, I really want to add a number 2 or number 3 defenseman on the right side, preferably. We could potentially get away with a left guy. Call it Noah Hanifin. I made a video on him. Noah Hanifin would be a great addition. Would not complain. Sounds like Chychrun might be available in Ottawa. I don't know why he would be available, but it sounds like he might be. Something like that. He would still be an upgrade. And our defense would be better. In terms of our points, obviously Nylander has 59 points in 43 games. He's been just really good all year long. Matthews has that 37 goals, 54 points in 42 games. Marner's 48 and 43. Marner, you see, it feels like he's having a down year. And this is what a down year looks like. Special player, that's for sure. So I'm not too sure. Maybe we're just being too hard on Marner right now, but he just hasn't looked his normal self. But he's clearly a super crazy talent, and I'm very hopeful that he can just take his game to the next level, or where we have seen him in the past. Riley having an extremely good year. Last year he had a struggle year, and then he went into the playoffs and was just dynamite in the playoffs. He was clearly our best player in the playoffs last year, and he's taken that into this year. 35 points, 43 games. And he's been doing well on the defensive side too. Tavares, 34 points in 43 games. I feel like he was at 34 points not long, like when he was at 30 something games as well, so like 34 games. So I feel like he hasn't got many points recently, but and the goals haven't been coming either. I still like him as a number 2 center. Clearly his cap hit is too high for a number 2 center, but he's really good regardless. Domi, solid addition to our third line. I'm excited to see what him and Bertuzzi produce in the playoffs. You know, I want to see that snot, that grit come out and play. So Bertuzzi has been good for the second half, at $5.5 million a year, 19 points, not enough. So I'm hoping to really see him take off. And he had an amazing playoffs last year. So I would like to see him to take his game to the next level as well. I think it's possible. Yarncroke, really good for his cap hit. He's just all over the lineup and has been great. Nyes, I want to see a bit more out of him. But he is young. Maybe we're just utilizing him too high up on the lineup. But I like his physicality. I think he's right near the top of our team in hits. Not it looks like McCabe has a few more, but he's right up there as well. He's a big physical guy, so that's good. McCabe, solid defenseman. Robertson, I want to see him get more opportunity. I don't know if it's going to be with the Leafs, but I hope it is. You know, Brody, Liljegren. Liljegren's, you know, getting some points, but nothing too crazy. I want to see that get boosted up. McGregor, I wish he could, he's dynamite speed. He has a good shot. I just wish that, I want to see a little bit more out of, like, the production side of things. I'm happy that now they have McMahon on that line, too, instead of Reeves. And that line has definitely been productive, a bit more productive. Kampf only has 8 points in 42 games. He's a really good defensive center. He's having a bit of a down year, but he's super competitive, and I would not be surprised to see him get more points per game for the rest of the year. I really like this player. I like what he brings to the table, and I really am happy that we have him for 4 years. I know a lot of people don't love the contract. I actually like it. Holmberg's been showing up recently. He has 8 points in 17 games, but he has 7 in his last 7. So he had 1 in his first 10, he has 7 in his last 7. He's been playing up on the top line. He's getting more opportunity, taking advantage of it. I'm happy about it. McMahon's been good. Timmins, 6 points in 14 games. He's actually a +5 as well. I want to see him get an opportunity at some point as well, like a bigger opportunity. I know Keefe always says, I like how much he generates on the offensive side of things, but I think he does not like the what we give up when Timmins is on the ice consistently. Giordano's playing 17 minutes a game. He's 40 years old. I think he's just a solid addition to our team. Honestly, I love having Giordano on our team. I know some people are harping on him. However, if he's our number 7 defenseman, I love it. Klingberg's out for the season. Wish him all the best. He's played 21 games. I didn't think it was that many. He's been a solid addition. He's not getting into our lineup right now because Benoit has been playing so great. But I'm very happy that we have Lagesson as an extra depth option. Reeves, I hope he gets healthy, and I hope that he gets sent to the minors. Benoit's been great, only 1 point, but 29 games. But he's just hitting everything that moves. He's good on the PK, or at least he's doing some good things there. And that's overall our team. Minton, he's back in the minors, he's back in juniors, and then Lajoie, I don't think we're seeing him again. He's, I don't think he did do well. In terms of goalies, each one of our goalies, 16 games, 15 games, 16 games. Martin Jones, 9 wins, 5 losses, 1 overtime loss. Wool is 8-5-1, and then Samsonov 5-3-6. Save percentage for Jones, 920. Wool is 916. Both of those very good. Happy. Samsonov is an 863. I've never seen a save percentage this horrific, especially because I like Samsonov and I thought he did a great job last year. So I'm hopeful that he can pick up his game. We really need it, especially since Wool is hurt and Samsonov will get a bit more opportunity moving forward. But I would not be surprised if he gets moved at the deadline in a trade for another piece. Not another goalie, but just as a cap relief. Overall, our power play is doing pretty well. 26%. We're 6th in the league. In that, our penalty kill is 77%, so that needs to be improving. We're at the bottom 8 in the league. You know, there's a whole grouping of teams between that 77% and 80%. So you go up a few percent, and all of a sudden you find yourself in right near the top of the league. But that needs to get improved. Goals for, we're at 150. I feel like we could score more than what we are scoring, and our goals against are 140, and I think we need to let in a few less goals as well. Overall, I think our team, I don't believe in this team yet. I think they need to get at least one really big upgrade on defense on that right side, and I think that will really help solidify their team. But even still, I do not want to spend money or assets on a rental. If I get a guy, I want to make sure that they're signed long term. I'm hoping that they're a younger guy who can grow with the team. There's not very many options, but I will get into my next video talking about Mackenzie Weegar. I'm already, please pray for me, because Calgary fans are going to eat me alive, because they love Weegar and they love what he brings. But I do see a scenario where he gets traded. It might be unlikely. Not every single one of my trade scenarios that I make are actually probable, but I like to explore them anyways. Maybe next week or in a few weeks from now, I go over all the trades that I've already made so far, and I rank them in terms of probability and in terms of the ones that I would like the most. And revisit a few of them, because some of them, it's like, they don't make sense anymore. So anyways, I am so appreciative and grateful of each and every one of you who are watching these videos. Let's hope the Leafs pick up. Oh, overall team, I'm giving them a C+. C+. That's it. Brian, the Leafs guy, out of here. Until next time.